Listen to the radio. Harry and Edna's want to show you heard it from the three birds.
What-o, Harry?
And what-o, Edna? And we are by the seaside.
What-ho?
Now that background hum you can hear is the sea, because we're on the seashore of the Dinosaur coast of the Isle of Wight. And what are we doing here, young Edna?
Well, we're here at Brook Beach, which is on the Jurassic coast over on the Isle of Wight, and it really is an incredibly dramatic piece of coastline with such coloured sands in the hills, or on the cliffs I should say, and the beach we've been walking on has actually got dark brown, black almost sand. And we're here with Megan, who's a paleontologist, and she's talking us and our children through what we found. Hold on a second, come and tell us.
I think we found
Dinosaur bone. Come on. Dinosaur bone.
So this is looks like a piece of charcoal,
Stone in it.
but it's actually solid, isn't it? You can't break this like you can charcoal, and that's part of a dinosaur.
Actual dinosaur bone.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was part of an animal that's millions of years old.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it?
Keep it.
What-ho?
Right, we're off exploring for dinosaurs today. Off on a dinosaur hunt with a big blunderbuss and a pith helmet. Actually, I'm not. I'm wrapped up really warm. The wind you can hear just proves how chilly-willy it is. I've got young Edna here. We've got our children and another friends of ours have also joined us with Megan Jacobs, a paleontologist. I should explain all this wind and howling. That's because it is windy here and I've got cold fingers holding this microphone. So much so I'm just going to quickly warm them up while I play another tune back in the studio.
What-ho?
I've got a really big, boulder about the size of my hand. It's all grey, like stone, with light bits inside it. So have I just found a piece of building material?
Oh, you found a flintstone.
A flintstone. Nothing exciting in there then.
What-ho?
It's ever so windy here. We've already spotted some fossilised things. I don't know. We're looking for some more. Ideally, what are we looking for? What do you want to find?
Something over a million years old.
Yay, and I found my own piece of fossilised whatever it was. What was that again?
Dinosaur is a live shell.
A dinosaur shell.
What-ho?
It's fake gold.
It's fake gold that was
They rip people off.
from hundreds of millions of years ago.
Everything we've been finding so far has been hundreds of millions of years ago.
What-ho?
So what's one of our children found? What's this?
This is a bit of crocodile plating. Dates back to the same time as dinosaur.
So again, it's about the size of my thumb. It looks like...
What-ho?
As you can guess, it's a bit of a pebbly beach, and we're walking across this because this is where we're going to find our dinosaur relics, but we need to find out what we're looking for. So let's go over and join Megan about what we're supposed to be looking for.
What-ho?
Hello, I'm Megan Jacobs and I'm a paleontologist from the University of Portsmouth. We have about 15 kilometres of exposed cliff lines which yield some of the best dinosaur remains in the whole of Britain at a high rate as well. Sort of the natural erosion really brings them out the cliffs all the time.
And so what have we found on the beach today?
You found a mixture of things actually. We've got actual dinosaur bone, we've got some crocodile teeth, which are about 130 million years old. You've got sea urchins from the chalk and they're about 90 million years old. And you've got the shelly limestone with fossil bits in and they are about 120 million years old.
So why is it that the Isle of Wight is such a good place for finding these dinosaur bones and some of the fossils? Is it just because it is more exposed, or is it because we just happen to be in the right location for it?
Yeah, I think we're just extremely lucky with the location. We've just got the right rocks exposed and the right rocks eroding out.
And what did we find? You were talking to us on the beach today, and there are some amazing dinosaur footprints. But you were telling us about the chap who first discovered them.
Yeah, he's a guy called Reverend William Fox. He actually discovered them in 1860. He found the trackway at Hanover Point Cliff, and he documented it at the time, and it's still actually there for you to see today.
But they're not where he originally found them, if that makes sense.
No, he found them at the base of Hanover Point, but since then Hanover Point's eroded about 200 metres, so I think you'd have a bit of a shock if he came down.
And there are lots of dinosaur footprints down on the beach that we managed to find today as well.
Yeah, they're actually the dinosaur footcasts, so they're the infield footprints, and they literally just on the beach for you to have a look. You just have to look for the three-toed shape. You'll find loads of them.
And it's almost like a big grey rock, isn't it, in the shape of a point. How was that formed?
Essentially, the dinosaurs were walking along and they made big holes in the mud along the riverbank. The mud hardened in the sun, formed a mould. Then there was a big flash flood. The river burst its banks and the holes got infilled with sand. Over the time, the sand hardens, turns into sandstone. When they fall out the cliff, they break around the weaknesses, and the weaknesses are the footprints themselves. So that's how we get the nice, perfect footprints on the beach.
And here, where we are at Brook, it is protected, isn't it? It's looked after by the National Trust.
Yeah, everything is protected from the National Trust, so you can't dig in the cliffs and you cannot remove the footprints on the beach. We do advise, if you do find anything loose on the beach, if you think it's really important, to take it to Dinosaur Isle Museum to get it identified, and they'll tell you how to go about if it is something scientifically important.
And you were telling us quite an interesting fact that actually, despite all the fossils that you find down here on the beach, people weren't that interested until quite recently.
No, there was, after the two World Wars, everyone lost interest in dinosaurs. There was nothing, no one really knew. There was a handful of collectors, and that's how they really wanted to keep it. It was only in the 90s, when all the interest sparked up with the Jurassic Park movies, that everyone sort of become interested again. We had the sauropod dinosaur being found at the dinosaur farm. That sort of sparked all the interest up again, and people were coming down on fossil walks like we are today. So.
I'm assuming you do enjoy taking people around for dinosaur and sort of looking at footprints and looking at fossils. Does it excite you every time you go down onto the beach?
Yeah, I'm addicted to it, I have to say. It's just the thought you could find absolutely anything. You just don't know what you're going to find. Some days you find nothing, and sometimes you just find something incredible. It's just that.
What's the most exciting thing you found on the beach?
Last Easter I found a tooth belonging to a dinosaur called Eotyrannus, and it's one of the only ones ever found, and it's in pristine condition, and it's older than the ones ever found as well, which is really exciting.
So here you got famous again, and you were on the news.
Yeah, I was on the news for that. I was on the radio, sort of made the headlines. So yeah, it was a good find.
So do you come down here? Do you see people often beach combing?
Yeah, all the time. There's you have people come down regularly, and you have people on holiday that come down on a walk and then they go back out by themselves. So yeah, it is a very popular thing.
And just to cover off some of the dinosaur footprints we found today, what dinosaurs would they have come from?
The main ones, the big large ones, come from a dinosaur called Iguanodon, but there's also a possible baryonyx footprint and also a sauropod footprint, as well as small meat-eating dinosaurs called theropods we've seen today.
And it's just incredible, isn't it, as we're here on this very windswept, kind of bleak, but it's still beautiful down here day, just to think that the dinosaurs roamed on this coast.
Yeah, it's incredible to think just 150 million years ago there was dinosaurs walking where we walk today.
And what were you saying earlier that would have been flying in the sky above our heads?
Oh, it would mean pterosaurs. They're flying reptiles, and at late Cretaceous they got up to about 12-metre wingspans, and they did not fly alone. There was flocks of them.
And we were also looking at the coastline, weren't we, as you can see the exposed coast and all the different layers.
The rocks we saw today are part of the Wealden Group, and they're a terrestrial land deposit. So we saw today the muds that showed roots that have been sent down. They oxidised the muds, and you can see all the minor details of the roots. We saw plant debris beds, and they're flash flood deposits, and they covered everything instantly with a layer of mud, and that's where you get most of the dinosaurs preserved.
So what are your plans? Because you've just come back from Morocco. What's next for you with regard to paleontology?
Next is to write my dissertation on the rocks in Morocco and the fossils I found there, and then I plan to go on and do a PhD, hopefully on the rocks in Morocco. I fell in love with it out there. So.
What ho?
Got red flint.
Yes.
So what's red flint?
It's flint that's red.
Ask a stupid question.
What ho?
We have found a couple of dinosaur bones, which is so cool. Found a really decent bit of dinosaur bone. And I assumed, stupidly, dinosaur bone would be white, but it's not. It's sort of black with a shiny, kind of crackled appearance on top, which I thought was fascinating.
And what have you found?
Sponge finger.
It is like a hard cone about the size of my thumb, long and thin.
Sponge finger.
So what is a sponge finger?
It's a finger.
Did you tell you how old it was?
No, it's got sponge in it. I found a dinosaur bone now.
You found a dinosaur bone too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you've got a stone here, and that's got... Oh, look at that!
That's a sponge. I don't know what it
It's a sponge, yeah, so you got like a stone, but in it we can see an imprint of an animal.
Oh,
How cool is that?
beautiful.
What ho?
Well, that definitely means I think the tide is coming in, so it's time for young Harry and Edna to go and get ourselves a nice steaming cup of hot bovril or chocolate or something, because I've got frozen fingers from holding this microphone. So I hope you enjoyed our little excursion. This is a little bit different. I mean, we always feature the best of vintage here on Harry and Edna on the Wireless. And today, well, this is vintage. We're going back millions of years, back to the time when, hey, I don't think even I was alive.